My name is Dean, and I am a heroin addict in recovery. It's only by the grace of God that I stand up here today. You know, it's amazing to me that today people ask me to do something like this, because a little over a year ago, nobody wanted anything to do with me. And I was so selfish and stuck in my ways that, you know, I just kept harming people over and over again. And for Steve to ask me to come up here and try to bring some hope is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I thank him for that. I can't believe there's so many people here. When I had to do public speaking courses in high school, I was terrified, and there was only 20 people in the room. But I also wasn't talking about something that I'm so passionate about, you know, something that can save lives. You know, I was asked to tell my story, so, you know, I was born right here in Lavalette, 2 towns down, to a loving family. You know, 2 loving parents who were always there for me. You know, I always had a roof over my head and food on the table, clothes on my back. And, you know, I had a great childhood. And they raised me with, like, good morals, good standards, to be a respectable young man, and I was for a long time. And, you know, leading up into high school, me and my cousin made a pact that we weren't going to drink and we weren't going to do drugs. We were going to focus on school and we were going to focus on sports. I was a big hockey player. And that's the pact we made, and we sincerely meant it. You know, when I was in 4th grade, I won a DARE essay contest saying that I was never going to do drugs or drink alcohol. It's hanging on my room, on my wall in my room today. But, you know, when I got into high school, all that changed. You know, my freshman year, I guess the peer pressure, everybody, drinking was the cool thing to do. I thought that's what I needed to do to fit in, so that's what I did. And, you know, they say when you look back on your addiction, you can see warning signs or red flags. And the first time I ever put alcohol, any kind of substance into my body, was my first red flag. You know, we had a bunch of beer, and when all the beer was gone, I was going around in the house picking up every beer and trying to get every last little drop out of it, because for me it was never enough. I always needed to be on that next level. I always needed more. It's a disease of more. You know, that's why they say one's too many, 1,000's never enough. And you know, that continued throughout high school. I continued to drink every weekend, and but I still maintained my grades, I still maintained my sports, and I started looking at colleges. Now, my mindset going into college was, okay, I'm going to college for an education, I'm going to better my future. So I started looking at schools, and I got accepted to East Stroudsburg University as a nursing major. Now, 2 weeks into my first semester, I saw the party scene, and you know, that mentality changed from furthering my future to this is my time to party, this is my time to try all the things I want to try, this is my time to experiment. And that's what I did. You know, I never said no to anything. And I still didn't see that I was developing a problem then. You know, I was one of the captains on my hockey team my sophomore year, and we would have a meeting, and I would look the team in the face and say, no going out and drinking tonight, no going out and partying, we have a big game tomorrow. But then I would go get beer and go into my room and drink by myself in my room, and I thought it was okay, and I still didn't see that that was a problem developing. You know, my sophomore year, I didn't really go to class anymore. Partying took over my life, and I was released from the nursing program. That summer was the first summer I was introduced to a Percocet, and you know, that's where my problem really started to take off. I went to a different school in the Bronx and made the hockey team, and I started playing hockey, and about 2 months into the season I quit. I walked away from hockey. This was my life since I was 5 years old. It was my passion, and it was more important for me to come home to New Jersey every weekend so I can get the drugs I thought I needed to be okay than to stay up in New York and play hockey, something I love to do. My grades suffered greatly because I wasn't going to class because I was sick every week, and you know, needless to say, I didn't make it too long in that school. Now I'm 24 years old and I'm living at home, and I have no job, and I'm an active heroin addict. So when you have a heroin addiction, you need that drug. It takes over everything. You know, it takes your soul away. You do anything to get it. And that's what I did. I hurt the people that love me the most, my family, my friends, my poor grandmother. You know, I harmed everybody that I came in contact with. And I didn't think twice about it. As long as I had what I needed to be okay. You know, so I'm sitting home, I'm 24 years old, right? Still living under my parents' roof, and my buddy calls me and asks me if I wanted a job in a union. I said, absolutely. So now I go from no job to making very good money as an active heroin addict. So what happens? My disease takes off, my addiction takes off, you know, over $1,000 a week. And I don't really want to get into a drug-a-log, but it got bad very fast. You know, it's not like if we have a good job, we can support our habits. Our habits just get worse and worse. This disease is a progressive disease. It never gets better, it always gets worse. And one day I was driving home from Newark, and mind you, I've already been to 2 rehabs. I've been to a detox and an outpatient program, and I just got out of an inpatient program. And you know, both of those times, the first time I came out and told my family I had a problem, my parents didn't know what to do. So we went to Hope Sheds Light. And we walked into Steve Willis's office. He's a very busy man, and he dropped everything he was doing to sit down with my parents and me and figure out a solution and figure out somewhere for us to go. And I'm so grateful to him for that. You know, unfortunately for me, it wasn't my time yet. I didn't hit enough pain. I was not ready to change. And I went back to doing all the old things I was doing. So I'm coming home from work one day. I just got out of another 30-day inpatient treatment, and I'm coming home from work. And you touched on how this is not a choice, and how we're powerless over drugs and alcohol, people with this disease. And I'm driving home from Jersey City one day, and I'm passing Newark. And it's almost like I blacked out, and all of a sudden I was in Newark getting drugs, 5 days out of a treatment center. And you know, I left Newark, and on the way home, I overdosed in my car, and I got in a head-on collision on the New Jersey Turnpike. This poor lady driving home from work, minding her own business. And I remember sitting in that jail cell, and for like the first time in my life, realizing that it's not just me I'm harming, because for the longest time, I told everybody if I wanted to drink, if I want to drug this way, it's my body, it's only my life I'm hurting. And it's the complete opposite. It's everybody we come in contact with. We're like a tornado. Everybody's affected by us. And I finally realized that. And I knew I had to do something. So here's our third trip to Steve Willis's office. And I had so much shame walking into that office. And he gave me a hug and said it's okay. Because he understands that this is what happens. There's no judgment. You know, he welcomed us with open arms, dropped everything he was doing, and helped me get into a treatment center. Today, I'm a little over a year sober. I just celebrated a year last month. And the things that are happening in my life I would never thought would have happened a year ago. Like you said, if you asked me what do you think you'd be doing in a year, I would have said I'll probably be in jail or I'll probably be dead. Because I would have if I didn't get help. This time I was ready to change. I went to a 12-step program, sober house in New Hampshire, and I got a sponsor, and I worked the steps. I worked the steps hard because I didn't want to die. And I remember 2 weeks into this treatment center, I was laying in bed one night, and for like the first time in a long time, I felt like I might be able to get it this time. You know, because for so long I was hopeless. I thought I was going to die an addict. And they talk about spiritual experiences, and that was a spiritual experience if I have ever had one. This smile came over my face, and this sense of I might be able to get this thing. And that was a huge turning point. You know, today I have the opportunity to do things like this. I have the opportunity to stand up here and try to bring some hope, because there is hope. We do recover. We're not bad people. We're sick people. We just need to get better. The things we do does not reflect the individual we are. We do them because we're sick, and we need what we need to be all right with ourselves. The opportunities that have come my way this far have been unbelievable. You know, I graduated a 6-month treatment program, and I was asked to manage the sober house up there, and I've been doing that for about 6 months now. I run 12-step meetings. I got introduced to an amazing individual who lost his daughter to a heroin overdose 3.5 years ago. His name's John Kesty, and he works for an organization called Hope for New Hampshire Recovery. And I was introduced to this man, and we have the great pleasure of going around to high schools, grade schools, youth detention centers, colleges, and educating kids on addiction, educating kids on the dangers of alcohol, the dangers of drugs, because you know that method of just don't do drugs doesn't work. You need to educate these kids on the dangers, and I'm a firm believer that education might be the key to ending this epidemic. You know, my priorities in life have completely changed since I've been sober. You know, I have a second chance at life. Like, I should not be here. It's only by the grace of God that I stand up here today. So I have this second chance at life, and what am I going to do with it? I'm not going to sit down and continue to be selfish and stuck in my ways, because where does that get anybody? I can help people today. And the feeling I get from helping somebody is better than the feeling I got from any drug I ever did. It truly, truly is. You know, I have a unique experience that I can offer to somebody else and try to pull somebody from the gates of hell, you know, where I was. I know where they've been, and if I can only help, it's just it's an amazing thing. You know, I really want to thank my family for being here today, friends and family. You know, they never gave up on me. They were always there for me, and I'm truly grateful for that. I'd like to thank Hope Sheds Light, because without them, my family would have had no idea what to do. Like I said, Steve was always there with open arms, no judgment. You know, Steve, I messed up again. Well, that's okay, friend. Friend, that's okay. So I guess in closing, I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and there's hope. I mean, if your son's struggling, if you have friends that are struggling, don't give up on them. You know, they're not bad people. They just need help. And it's pretty hot out here. I think we should turn this walk into a swim. I don't know about that. But thank you.